Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're checking out the Megalomaria Mephisto model kit here from Kotobukiya. So I sometimes hear from people that, we have all these Girlpla, Mechamusume model kits and stuff. There's not very many of them that ever make like male character model kits. Well, here you go. Here's your chance. And there's a couple of different variations of this out already as well. I'm getting to this a little bit later, but the whole Megalomaria series basically kind of does away with the more kind of human aspect of it. And they do kind of look more just kind of completely robotic sort of characters anyway, but even though they are, I guess, in canon actually played by actors inside there, as I think, if I remember correctly, this is meant to be a TV show that exists in the universe of the Sosai Shoujo Teien series. It's a whole kind of thing. But anyway, for today's video purposes, we're just going to be checking out the Mephisto kit here, and it looks pretty awesome, so let's go ahead and get into it. And so the box art here looking very cool in the typical style of the Megalomaria series. We've got vertical box art here, just basically with the character and some kind of like a very simple white background there with some color and everything. You can see there's a titling down here at the bottom, but the illustration does look really, really nice there on the front. On the ends of the box, we just have a close-up of the character illustration like that, same on both sides. And vertical art here on this side of the box with some images of the kit built and painted up. There's the character here, and you can see hard points and options. And then one of the really nice features of this line is that triple jointed wrist that's got in there as well, which is really cool. So let's say on the other side of the box, a couple images here showing the unpainted sample build there in a couple of different poses, just to kind of show off the range of articulation, which is another key feature of this line. But here on the back side, it's showing how you can rebuild this by mixing different parts to make it kind of however you want. Obviously, customization is something that's strongly encouraged. We also have more here about the range of motion. As I said, the articulation is absolutely incredible on these kits, so you can really put them in just about any pose that you could possibly want. And then another really cool feature about these is that they always show you the connection here, basically, which also acts as just like a size reference, just to show you kind of how it compares with Frame Arms Girl, Sosai Shoujo Teien, Arcanadia, Megami Device, and Hexagear there. This is definitely going to be one of the taller ones compared to Kotobukiya's different series there. So let's pop it open and check out our contents inside here. We'll get to the runners in just a moment after taking a quick look at our instruction manual. And as we've seen with some of Kotobukiya's other recent series here, they've kind of separated out the black and white section and the color section just as like separate sort of pamphlet. Basically, in this case here, with the color section just having the box art on the front, on the back side is our parts list right there, and on the inside is going to be the color guide on this side, and then over here, kind of like a full guide to the rebuild, showing how you can make it look like this, which is pretty awesome looking, I have to say, by mixing it with some Kotobukiya MSG Hexagear option parts there. So it's like a guide showing what parts you need and where to put them to make it into kind of the more buff version, which looks really cool, I gotta say. And then as for the actual construction part of the manual, it's just a separate thing here. It's all in black and white, very simple, but that's just gonna go through the construction of the body. We don't really have much in the way of like weapons. There's some like option parts, and that's really kind of gonna be about it. There's like the core body and then some of the option parts that attach onto it that are going to be different depending on the different variations. And on a real quick side note, before we get to the runners proper, one thing I wanna point out, and it's a small thing, but I think this is the first time I've ever noticed Kotobukiya using these like perforated bags. Not exactly perforated, but like there's a notch here, so it's like easy open. And I can't tell you guys for how many kits I have to open up and how many runner bags I have to open up. It's so nice to have bags that open up so easily like that you just rip open. So that is very much appreciated. All right, let's check out those runners then here, starting off with our polycaps. We do have a few of these here in this very nice maroon color. And then our hand tree looking very much like a hand tree here, with it actually being two runners in this softer plastic, which is usual, giving us a whole bunch of different hand option parts here. And we'll go through all of these in the review portion of the video. But as you can see, we're going to have quite a few. Runners A and B being our first full runners here, then this is going to be more of the armor pieces there in maroon. Runner C is going to be in this very dark brown, almost black kind of color. It looks really quite nice. Runners D and E, some more maroon parts here. Runner D, and then we've got two of runner E. So I've built a few of the Megalomaria series so far, and they're all kind of built around the same frame, the ones that I've built so far. This one being the kind of male body type version, this does have a different kind of core frame, and that's what a lot of those parts go to. But then here we have runner F, which is going to be in this kind of clear fluorescent pink kind of color there, fluorescent red sort of. That looks really nice. Runner G then is a few more parts here in that maroon color, and then you can see some parts for the triple jointed wrists. Couple of smaller runners here for runner H, one kind of gray part there for the faceplate, runner I for the eye sort of visor there in the clear kind of iridescent light blue kind of color there. It looks quite interesting. Then runner J here in a kind of molded gold, sort of like a high gloss here as well for those weapon bits that go kind of on like the back end of the hand. Lastly then, runner K is some more parts here in that clear fluorescent red, and runner L is a few more parts here in that almost black sort of color there. Very dark brown. So those look really nice. That's it for all the runners. Let's go ahead and check out the kit. All right, guys, then here is the base model all built up. And this is how we're going to take a look at it. First, I just kind of want to show you what the base model kit looks like and what the armor parts look like separately, just in case you wanted to customize this. You kind of know where all the hard points are, you know just kind of what you have to work with as like the base form. And then, of course, our extra bits of armor definitely add a lot to the design. I mean, this on its own, it does look rather plain, but of course, it does have that amazing articulation that we've seen with this line from the couple of kits that we've taken a look at here before. And so just aside from these being highly customizable, you just have that amazing unmatched range of articulation with these. And so we'll get more into that in just a second, but first let's take a look at our included accessories. And so for the first set of accessories, of course, we've got a bunch of different hand option parts, including closed fists here, and two different sets of open hands here, just kind of open resting hands, as well as open outstretched expressive hands like this. These are all going to be molded in that softer plastic too, by the way. We also got this set of hands here, which could be good for like holding different accessories. If it's like a thinner accessory, something like that, like a phone or a tablet accessory, something like from the Sosai Shoujo Teian line or something, or for doing different kind of poses with that. We've got two different types of weapon holding hands here for holding a rectangular shaped weapon handle, one with the finger outstretched and one without. You have these all for the left and the right too, by the way. And then a set of weapon holding hands here for a cylindrical type of handle for weapons like a sword or a staff, a spear kind of weapon, something like that, or if it's just a gun that has a cylindrical type of handle on it. So you've got those as well. And for a few option parts for the kit itself, so we've got those triple jointed wrists, which are awesome. Basically, it's connection between the hand, the forearm, and this part here on the sides that allows you to bend the wrist all the way in like that, and then basically use this part here on the outside as like a weapon attachment point. So right here, you've just got this like clear pink piece in there, but you can remove that, and that's just a hard point. We're going to be putting something else in there here in just a second, but that will bend back here like that. But if you didn't want to use that, we do have this option part here, which is just kind of a more traditional, just like single joint there for the wrist. If you wanted something a little bit simpler, there you have that option as well. Around here on the back side, the kind of like tailbone part there, we have an option for that, which has a hard point on it. That'd just be for plugging this onto an action base. So I'll probably switch that out here soon, just because for doing different poses and stuff, you're going to want some way to attach this onto an action base. So that'll be useful. And then just below that, these butt plate parts here, you have these two separate parts, but you do have the option of having one single part here. There's not really going to be a whole lot of difference. The separate parts allow for more range of articulation, so I think that's nice, but you do have the option of just this one single piece there. And then for the additional armor, we've got this mask part, kind of headdress part here, these horns with those clear parts on there that look really cool. This is just going to plug with a hard point just straight onto the forehead, right onto there. Over here on the shoulder, we're going to replace those clear parts with these clear parts, which also have that black armor part on here for some shoulder armor. On the chest then as well, this black and clear part just going to plug right here onto the front of the chest for some additional armor there. And then similarly down here, this part is going to attach at kind of the belly button right there, that hard point, to give us a little bit more of that cool clear armor. And then on the backs of the forearms right there, I said we're going to plug something else into there. These are going to be those very much looking like kind of pen quills, sort of like an old-timey ink pen, but that's what it's going to be. Basically, it's kind of only weapon that we have sort of as a weapon, and that will just plug into the back of that wrist part. And then again, yeah, you can kind of fold that back and kind of use that as a sort of like a stabbing weapon there, like that. You can kind of turn it around or however else you might want to use that. Anyway, it's an interesting weapon. Sort of feels weird kind of even calling it a weapon, but then for a size comparison, here it is with the Ruby Eye. So you'll see this kind of male frame here is definitely going to be significantly larger. So if you did want to like mix and match parts, especially the heads would be pretty compatible there. Obviously putting these like smaller arms onto this bigger body might look a bit odd. I mean, I think you can do it, but especially if you wanted to swap the heads on any of of these, I think that would be probably your best bet. Obviously the weapons and accessories, everything like that would be easy to mix and match as well. Also on that note, just a couple more things to point out about the body. Obviously we talked about the hard points here on the front, here on the back. You've also got a hard point at the center of the back where you could plug something also into the back of the head there as well. That one's actually able to rotate up and down there. We got our hard points here on the sides of the calf, both inside and outside. And then I almost forgot about this. This is actually another accessory. You can pull out this part here and you've got a hard point there on the side of the leg, just a little cap piece. You also have the option of just replacing that with just this flat cap piece that doesn't have that kind of extra bit kind of sticking out there on the side. And then you might think there would be hard points up underneath the feet as well, but actually there's not, but there's some cool detail there. You are going to have a nice bend of the toe. And one thing that I said before that is certainly true with this, I mean, you're just going to have a very, very nice range of articulation with this. And on that note, I think one other great reason to get one of these kits or a few of these kits would be if you're into like art, illustration. These make like really good posing references just with their like pretty like human shape, even more so than like a Gundam. Obviously like the proportions of like a Gundam model kit wouldn't really match quite as well the proportions of like a human body. But I mean, just the range of posability that you have with these is pretty incredible. So why don't we just take a look at that here in a few poses. And yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the strong points of this series. As I mentioned before, one of the strong points is just going to be how highly customizable they are with the series of hard points you have on there. And now with a number of kits out in the line, I mean, even if you're only just using different parts from different Megalomaria kits, I mean, you have a lot of options now, but then of course you have Kotobukiya's entire range of modeling support good, option sets and option weapons, option parts. You can mix and match with the Sosai Shoujo Teian line pretty predominantly, as that's kind of what they're meant to be for, especially not really so much with the Mephisto kit here, but more so with the kind of female body type Megalomaria kits in particular, being able to swap the face and hair option parts, stuff like that. But all that customizability combined with a really unmatched range of articulation that you have with these, I mean, they've really kind of put the articulation front and center with the designs, and I think also not sacrifice the design to do that, because I mean, you could make a model kit, you know, where it's just got, you know, incredibly ridiculous range of articulation, but if the design then kind of suffers because of that, you just kind of the joints don't really look good and just it looks kind of a bit awkward and all that. It could not work, but I think they work really well with this. The designs are really cool, very unique, and that's the other nice thing about this series of kits too, is that they're just pretty unique designs, with there really not being a whole lot else out that's kind of similar to this. I guess maybe the closest thing would be maybe some of the 30-minute fantasy kits from Bandai would be sort of similar to something like this. And then if you had like the Hatcher B from the 30 Minutes Missions line, I guess is somewhat close, like some of the other Megalomaria releases, but yeah, not really a whole lot. So I think Kotobukiya, as usual, is really kind of leading the way with this line, and it's great to be checking out another one here. I've got a few more in the queue, so I definitely will be checking out some more here in the near future. Stay tuned for that. If you guys want to check out some more from the line, of course, you can check the link in the video description down below to USA Gundam Store. We've got all sorts of great stuff there from Kotobukiya on the website, as well as paints, tools, supplies, and everything else. So check all that out. And as usual, guys, thanks so much for checking out the video here today too. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. If you do have any other further questions about the kit, do feel free to let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about the kit. Is it this one that you like? Is there other ones in the series that you like more? Is there other versions of this one that you like more? Let me know. And if you're not subscribed yet, of course, you can subscribe down there as well. So until next time, guys, hope you all are doing well. See you later.